Thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video.
And we'll talk more about Squarespace later on, but for now, let's get into the video. Hey guys, welcome back, or if you're new, hello, my name is Laura.
My name's Ollie.
And we have been documenting our renovation journey on this channel. I'm going to leave the renovation playlist below, but I get a lot of confused people who come to the channel and they're kind of like,
What are you guys doing?
Yeah, and we're like, we don't know. No, I'm joking. So if you're old or new, I'm sure this video hopefully will clarify a few things for you. We're going to break it down into different sections, and we're going to start right from the beginning, from before we bought this house, which seems like a lifetime ago.
Very, very long time. So we used to live and work in London, and we rented quite a few flats, some a little bit further outside and some much closer in.
Some nice and some not so nice.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It cost quite a lot, and we were planning on staying in London with our jobs for about 5 years when we moved up there.
Yeah, I think when you rent, you always have this back and forth of, is this the right thing? You're basically giving away everything you earn each month, especially if you're in London. And Ollie is a calculation kind of guy. You love your spreadsheets, don't you?
Yeah.
So we did the dreadful thing.
We added up how much we were going to spend on rent while we were in London, and it was horrifying. Yeah,
so we were thinking that we could stay in London for perhaps another 5 years. Our plan was always to move back to the southwest near our family, but we tallied up that it would be close to 100,000 if we carried on renting in London. And from that point on, we thought, no,
can't do it.
We have to get on the ladder in anything that we can find in London. And so we started searching for flat in London.
Really hard for flat in London, and had no success ever.
Yeah, the market moves so incredibly fast, it's unbelievable, and properties don't even particularly come to the market. And then if they do, you're viewing at the same time as 20 other people. And we put, I think our highest was, we put about 30,000 over the asking price for a flat in London, and we still didn't secure the property. So just, it
was such high pressure. It wasn't a nice experience. We went to one which was listed on Friday, open day on Saturday, offers by Saturday afternoon, and that was it. So it was literally on the market for 2 days.
There's not a thing. It's like, there's no second viewings in London. If you haven't, they won't even consider estate agents, will they? So anyway, we tried, we got really close to buying a flat in London, but it
fell through.
Yeah.
Really, really last minute.
Really sad. It was a sad situation for the owner. But cutting that story out, we then decided, hey, well, why are we staying? We really want to get on the property ladder. Why don't we just move back to
come back home,
the southwest now? And that takes us into our next phase. So that moves us into searching for a property in the southwest. So because we were looking in London, we had quite a vast price range that we were looking at. So we looked right from starter homes to kind of more of a forever home.
We would not need to move out for 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah, or equally we could go for a smaller home. We were thinking we could holiday all the time, which maybe we should have gone for, thinking about it. But the things that we were looking for in that search, well, we definitely wanted a Victorian or Edwardian home, something with character. Yeah, definitely just wanted character.
Parking for 2 cars, not difficult in the southwest, much harder from London. Yeah,
and then things like a garden. We wanted 3 bedrooms, a really good neighbourhood, and close to some kind of public transport, good public transport. So with the properties being so different, as we started looking at the smaller houses and the larger houses, we were thinking that with a smaller house, when it was more 2 very small bedrooms and then an okay sized bedroom, we'd probably have to move quite quickly. And then that would mean that we'd have to pay moving costs,
stamp duty, conveyancing fees.
Yeah, and I think with the fact that it had been so difficult to find a house in London, we were worn out by now. We'd been on Rightmove for about...
ever want to move again.
Yeah, I think we'd been on Rightmove for about a year and a half, 2 years. It was a long time that we were trying to buy a house. We were thinking, actually, maybe we will stretch our budget and go for something a little bit larger, and then we can stay in for a long time. So as we mentioned earlier, today's video is sponsored by Squarespace, and a lot of you may not know that I actually started out documenting our life, my journey on a blog, and when we started renovating this house, I started videoing it all and putting it onto YouTube, and that blog, that website got put on the back burner, it got put to the side a little bit, and I didn't look at it for quite some time, and then I got a message from a lovely viewer in my DMs saying that the site was redirecting to another site. Bearing in mind I hadn't looked at it for ages, I popped on to see if it was redirecting, and let's just say it was redirecting to an adult website. I was absolutely mortified.
It was so embarrassing.
Yeah.
And only the other month we had actually been saying that we should move the website over to Squarespace. As it's a managed platform, we wouldn't have to worry about buying hosting, domain, security certificates, SSL, all of that. It would just be one monthly fee and make our life a lot easier.
Yeah, because sometimes you don't perhaps realise how much goes into maintaining a website. We certainly didn't. We built a pretty website and we were like, oh.
Looks great for now.
Yeah, and that was really it. But Squarespace has a number of things as well. You can check your analytics.
Got great templates, which means we could change the look of the site really quickly, which was something we struggled to do on the current one.
Yeah, and as we're wanting to document our journey, that moves at quite a fast pace sometimes, and sometimes you want to change it up as your life adapts and moves on. And it's also you can integrate it really easy to all of your social platforms and stuff, which is crucial if you're just wanting to show your friends or have it as a website for a business, whatever it is. You need social media nowadays, but Squarespace are actually offering you guys a free trial with this link here, but I'll also drop it down in the description, and 10% off your first website or domain. Which takes us into finding the one. And how did we find this house? So we were actually living in London, as we explained, and we were coming back at the weekend to view properties, and this was so at the top of our budget. Well, actually it was out of our budget.
Definitely outside budget.
Yeah, but when you creep on Rightmove, we can't be the only people, but you're just go, I'll just see.
What can you get for a little bit more?
Yeah, we'll just have a little look. And that look turned into something very different. It was basically at the end of our day. We looked at quite a lot of houses. Ollie had mentioned that there was this. No, was it you or I who had mentioned?
You had mentioned.
Of course.
I basically looked at it and been no, it is. There's the budget, and then there's a bit outside the budget, and then there's no, we're not even looking at it.
Ollie is much more restrained than I am. I'm but we'll just go and look. They might take an offer. You never know. So anyway,
I think we did a little drive past our neighbourhood and really liked it. It's an area that I knew from my childhood.
Yeah.
And I was this is a really nice spot. But Saturday afternoon, a bit after lunch, phoned the estate agents, no answer, couldn't get in to try and book a viewing, and I think that was our last day. I think we were leaving the next day.
Yeah. I was desperate to see the property. I was I just didn't feel like we could drive back to London without seeing it. So we were questioned whether to or not, but we thought we'll put a note through the door and just see if
ask if we can have a look around.
Yeah. So we put the note in. I remember being so nervous.
Felt really naughty.
Yeah, we ran away like little children from the front door, and we had all drive around. And then the person who lived here actually called us and said, "Yes, of course, come and look around the house." And again, like little children, we looked around just with beaming smiles at a house that was out of our budget, but we totally fallen in love with. And we think that probably because of that moment, we did make an offer on the property and it was accepted, and we feel like meeting the owner probably...
There was some personality attached to it, and I think if you know that the house is going to...
A family.
It will be a family home, because I think there was an option for this place to get turned into flats, which I think the owners and the neighbourhood would have really not appreciated.
No.
And it would have spoiled it so much. Having been here now, we know that if that was to happen to one of the other homes, we would be devastated.
Yeah, and the neighbours are all extremely close, so kind of like who you sell to, I think, I don't know, it's very personal.
It means a lot more.
Yeah.
So the house is 5 bedrooms split over 3 floors. So just to explain quickly, that is the top floor with 2 bedrooms and a box room, which had a freezer in.
Yeah, for a bit of reference, nice.
And then the middle floor, there are 2 bedrooms to the front, 1 bedroom to the rear, and then a bathroom and separate toilet.
Right in the back, yeah.
And then on the ground floor, we have the living room to the front, dining room,
which we're currently in,
kitchen, and then other bathroom.
Yeah, like a shower room.
And then office room.
which goes like leads onto the garden. So the house was quite a large house for what we needed, and obviously we knew before we even looked at it that it needed a huge amount of work. And because it was so close to the top of our budget, we did think at that point, how will we afford this, or how will we do it? We couldn't afford to rent somewhere else. So actually we were both lucky enough. Ollie was still working in London, so he still lived in London. And I was able to live with my parents, but we knew that if we were going to be moving back here, we needed to live in the house. We couldn't afford to rent another house whilst we renovated this one.
We loved the house, but we always looked at it with an eye on the practicalities. So it was large enough that we could live in one section, renovate another section, and then possibly also have enough space to fit a lodger and get some income from the house at the same time.
Yeah, so that we could hopefully afford to do the renovations that we wanted to do to it.
Yeah, because it basically used up our entire budget to buy the place. We weren't going to have any budget left over to renovate, so we had to think of all of the practicalities involved with the money.
Yeah, and before even buying the property, we did sit down and think about how much it would cost to renovate it, and it would be about a 6-figure sum to properly renovate it to a really good standard.
All in one go, with like a team of guys coming in and just
it didn't have a boiler, it needed new windows, it needed totally gutting. There's a huge amount of work to do in it just as a base. So we knew that it needed that money of which we quite clearly did not have. So the reason for having it in phase 1 and phase 2 started at that point.
Yeah. Which brings us on to evaluating our priorities. We moved all our stuff in and we tried to keep it in just to one room so it didn't clutter out the rest of the house. And we had to consider which rooms were really important to us.
Yeah, we were lucky at this stage that neither of us were living here. As I mentioned earlier, Ollie was living in London and I was living with my parents, but we really did want to move in and we wanted to do the bare minimum to be able to move in. So for us, that was the kitchen. We absolutely adore food. It's just the thing that kind of like got us by, like looking
keeps
forward,
you motivated.
Yeah, to lunch and dinner and just like a nice snack. Also, when we're having people around, it's nice to be able to serve them up something. The living room as like a safe haven so that we can actually relax at some point.
Somewhere clean.
Yeah, we had days here when we had like hard renovation days and we would get takeout and we'd be like, do we sit on the hard floor? Like there was nowhere to sit. And then also the bathroom, because obviously at some point we wanted to be able to shower.
Yeah.
And
keep clean.
Keep clean, yeah, which when you're renovating is tricky anyway.
Pretty important.
And then quite soon after that we decided
that we get a lodger in, so obviously we needed a bedroom for them and a bathroom for them.
Yeah.
And along with that also meant redoing the front hallway, just so everything that they experienced on the way in was nice and clean and done up.
We call it like a normal house, don't we? Non-renovation, just making it nice. So that's where it kind of splits it into this phase 1 and phase 2 that we talk about. So phase 1 is temporary, and that is because we didn't have a budget to do it. We just came in here like little tornadoes,
ripped everything to pieces.
Yeah, and wanted to get it livable. And phase 2, when we talk about phase 2, that's our permanent, that's our dream. You know, this is our really long-term home where we hope to stay in and have a family, and we want to make it, you know, as nice as it can be.
Yeah.
We have visions of it being a very nice standard, hopefully, which we couldn't afford when we moved in. So that's a much more long-term dream.
Yeah. We couldn't afford, and also we didn't know how. No. We've never done any renovation before.
Yeah.
So the phase 1 was a really good learning curve for us. We learned how to do a kitchen and how to do a bathroom. And then
just generally how we live in the space as well.
Yeah.
I know so many people say you should live in a home a bit before renovating it, and I was always like, oh, I've got quite good vision, I think I know, but no, like living in it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
So we'll take you on and talk a little bit more about phase 1 and what phase 1 was.
So phase 1, it took us about 4 months of me travelling back at the weekends and us meeting up to get renovation done before we had more or less completed all of those initial rooms that we had decided on.
Yeah, and family as well. Gramps was a huge help, especially when we were learning at the beginning, because we had no idea what we were doing. And we did come in here extremely naively, didn't we?
Oh, 100%. We thought a room would take a day or 2 to strip wallpaper, not realising there was 7 layers of it. And I think a lot of stuff during that time, we sanded and stripped all of the floors, but we didn't realise there was no flooring in the hallway, which we had to relay.
Things that like we should have perhaps looked at before hiring the sander. But it was a process that we were learning on the job, and also we were both trying to keep full-time jobs at the same time. So it was a lot. It was hard work, and it was something that we knew going into it was a huge sacrifice. And it was a huge sacrifice. Like, we gave up a lot in that time. We never had a weekend off. We didn't have a holiday.
No.
And that's not we feel sorry for ourselves. We made a decision.
Yeah, it's a choice we made.
Yeah, and we wanted to do it, and we'd never take it back. Like, knowing us, we'd probably do it again. But phase 1 was really our solid, hard grafting. We put in a second-hand kitchen, we put in a second-hand bathroom, and all of the stuff that we did was extremely cheap. Like, a few people have asked, why didn't you just leave those rooms? And that's partly because we knew quite soon that having just 1 month of a lodger paying would almost pay for, the lodger's room being renovated and the bathroom being renovated.
Or 1 month covers the kitchen.
Yeah.
Another month covers all of the rest of the work we've done. So within probably a couple of months, we had completely covered our costs for all the work we'd done so far.
Yeah.
And then we could just use that to add to the pot to eventually start funding all the other rooms.
Yeah, so without doubt, it was well worth us
100%.
doing that first stage, because we're going to be living in it in a few years, and already we've been able to have birthdays here, Easter's here, Christmases here that have been enjoyable and happy. We want to love and enjoy living in our home instead of hating it, which I think we would have if we would have had to have lived in it as it was.
Yeah, it would have been terrible.
Yeah.
So I guess that brings us to the continuation of phase 1, wherein after we finished the main rooms, we kind of looked at the others and thought, it's going to take us maybe 4 years to get the dining room done.
Yeah.
And we thought, the other rooms turned out pretty great, so why don't we just keep going?
Yeah, in fact, with the dining room, we pulled back hugely. We thought, well, let's do even less work. Let's just do as little as we possibly can to make it as nice as we can. And the more that we did it, the more that we thought, well, actually, we'll do as many rooms as we can in this first phase to make it ours. So we also moved on to do the kind of second fix of the bathroom a little bit.
Yeah.
Mainly due to our friend Rona, because we were thinking, how long will we have to live in this terrible bathroom? So we redid that and we absolutely love it. And also we're doing now called the green room, which you guys are designing, so that hopefully it'll be nice that we can have some guests and friends come and stay.
Yeah. So we didn't plan to do that to start with, but with how well all the others turned out, we thought we might as well.
Yeah, it's just giving the rooms a little bit of a facelift. I know it seems like a lot of hard work, but after the work that we did downstairs, a lot of this other work, and I also have to say that some of the work that we've done is obviously progressing to the final stage. So we would have had to have stripped the wallpaper anyway. We would have had to have stripped all of the doors and the staircases.
Taking floorboards up in the green room, that's eventually going to have a bathroom, so it's going to have the floor taken up anyway.
Yeah.
And we put in the airing cupboard for the boiler.
Yeah, so it seemed like a lot of work, but actually all of that work is kind of progressing to the final stage anyway. So then we started to think about phase 2, which is our forever, the things that are going to stay. And with renovating a property, you often start from the top down. So we decided to do that. So on the top floor, that is totally phase 2. So we've already put in the new boiler for that. There was no pipe work up there.
No radiators. So new double glazed windows.
Yeah, and sash windows. We also put in a Velux window in the bathroom. All of the bathroom wasn't there before, so that's been all of the pipe work's been put in. So that's the freezer room that we were originally talking about before. Everything's been stripped. It's been totally replastered. New floors. That's really been done to a standard that it will stay, and that when it is finished, apart from redecorating the rooms as the years go on,
a lick of paint and changing over some little pieces, they'll be exactly the same for 10-15 years.
So that top floor has always been phase 2 and will only ever be phase 2. And the only thing that we've also done up until this point for phase 2 is the boiler. So putting in our airing cupboard, which is on the middle floor towards the back in what will be the bathroom, but is currently the green room. We just knocked out a little section there, didn't we? We built in a section.
Yeah, built in a little section for the tank and an airing cupboard in the centre of the house, so everybody can run and get warm towels in the morning, and we can dry our socks.
Yeah. And sadly, that is pretty much all that's going to be staying, isn't it?
Yeah, everything else is getting knocked down.
Sorry guys, I know a few of you are like, aren't you keeping the kitchen? Which we'll be living in it for quite a long time, but...
Yeah, and also one of the reasons we got a wooden kitchen is when we do eventually get on to doing the bottom floor, there is going to be a really easy point where we can just unscrew those cabinets, take the pieces, bring them into a different room, screw them back together again, and we can have a temporary kitchen in the dining room while...
living through another renovation.
The extension gets built.
Yeah.
And that leads us nicely on to our future plans. So hopefully this year we will finish off the green room, which will draw a line under all of the phase 1 work, and then we can just focus on the permanent phase 2 work, which will be finishing off the top floor, and then hopefully coming down to the middle floor.
Yeah, so once we finish the top floor, which we hope to do pretty soon now, we're really verging on finishing it, we are going to move up there and live there. We have not had a bedroom that has been renovated whilst we have lived here, so it's going to be really nice to have a bedroom and a bathroom that just feels really luxurious. So we're going to move up there and live there. I'm going to have an office as one room, and we're going to live in one room. And then whilst we're up there, we're going to move down to the middle floor and do the master bedroom, which I know a lot of you guys are keen to know our plans on the room, and we're not 100% sure yet. We definitely have been doing things as we go with this, and we might seek a bit of advice from an architect at that point, but we're not sure. We do think that we're going to go for our bougie idea.
Yeah, we'll just go for it.
Yeah.
What we planned is to knock the wall partially down between the 2 front rooms to make a master suite. Master bedroom will just be our bedroom and kind of like a sitting area.
Yeah, we're going to have like a sitting area around the bay window, hopefully.
Yeah, it should be a really nice little room set down there, quite hotel-like and quite luxurious. Yeah. But it's something that we kind of want to do for ourselves.
Yeah, I think probably the more that we've lived in a terrible room, the more that we've been dreaming of
having a really, really nice one.
Yeah, a far too luxurious room. And then the room which is next door will knock through to a bit of a dressing room, and we're also going to make it into an ensuite. And we've gone back and forth on 2 ideas. One which was the more, I'd say, luxurious idea, which was putting the bathroom towards the back and opening it all up. But we decided that we probably won't stay in the house forever.
No. So that one, basically, you would go into the dressing room and it would kind of like be Jack and Jill and then through to a bathroom at the back. That was very luxurious and kind of space intensive.
Yeah.
Whereas what we decided to go for...
took up that room and kept it only as a master suite.
Yeah.
Yeah, whereas we decided that if we put, I will put pictures up, but if we put an ensuite that is just in the corner of that room that links on to what is the master bedroom, it would mean that the other room could always be turned back into a bathroom. Bedroom, so that, I don't know, for some reason, if we ever wanted an extra bedroom again.
Yeah.
If we sold it.
Yeah, it would just mean taking down some plasterboard, putting up some plasterboard on another doorway, and then it would be done back to normal.
Yeah, but we haven't quite made the decision yet, so when we come down to it...
I think we're probably going to do it though.
Yeah, I think we will. So that's the front part of the middle floor. And then once we finish that, we're going to move down from the top floor. The top floor will then be our guest room, and it will stay as my office, or our office technically.
Yeah.
And once we're living down there, we'll definitely get in, we'll need a lot of structural advice.
Structural engineer, architect, because at that point we're going to be thinking about the back of the house and doing an extension, which will mean a lot of low-bearing walls, RSJs, and a big chimney breast coming down. And at that point we've kind of got 2 options about how we take the project.
Yeah, so we have actually, very kindly, because our neighbours are both lovely, we've been into both of their houses. They've done slightly different things, but one of the main things is there's a chimney, which you guys will know is the cooker is in it on the ground floor, and then in the green room, I've kind of showed you it there isn't a fireplace in it, and then it goes out the top. That will fully need to come down if we want to extend the house at the back. So we are not sure whether we can do the middle floor bathroom and bedroom without doing the whole of the downstairs.
So it involves setting up scaffolding outside, taking the chimney down through the roof line, and then roofing over it, taking it down through the attic, down through the middle floor, and then stopping. And at that point, we could do the bedroom and bathroom. And then later, we could take it down from the ceiling of the kitchen to floor level.
Yeah, and we've decided on that middle floor that the bathroom will be moved to the green room that we're currently doing, because it's just got a terrible outlook, and I feel like for a bathroom you just don't need it. And then the back room will be a bedroom which looks out onto the garden, which I think will be much nicer. We'll obviously get rid of the single toilet on its own. We're actually moving a lot of doorways there, so that is going to take a little bit more, like a lot more structural work.
Yeah, that entire area basically is just have its walls flattened and started again, so it's quite a lot of work.
And up until that point, we haven't had, because a few people have asked, we've had no architects or anybody look at the house because we haven't needed to. We haven't moved any structural walls.
No. The other option is just to do it all in one go, and that would basically mean taking the cooker out from the bottom and then dropping the bricks down through the chimney. I think that's normally how people do it.
That's how our next door neighbour
That's next door is. I think it's a lot quicker, a lot more messy, but you can obviously clean it up afterwards. But that's a different option.
It's a bit more scary for us because we're obviously trying to stagger this renovation and do it in phases, because we are budgeting it as we go. And being able to do it on different levels just works really nicely. Whereas I think if we were doing the back of the house as well as the whole downstairs, I don't know whether we'd have to consider moving out again or what our options would be. Like, it would be quite a bit of work going on all at the same time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it would be nice because it would get it all done in one swift go.
Yeah. So then on the downstairs, our final plans would be to knock this wall behind us down. So we'd open up the living room to the dining room, and then that will then flow into the extension, which would also be opened up. And we're planning on adding a toilet and utility room to the middle of the house, kind of near the staircase, and then pushing the extension out all the way to the back, and then also across our side return.
Yeah, so we hope to open it up quite a bit. And again, we're not 100% sure because we haven't seen advice on how we would open it up, how it would flow, whether we'd have the dining room and sitting room open but not open to the back extension, because we hope that with our back extension we'll be able to have a kitchen, dining and living room out there. We'd love to have a log burner with a big L-shaped sofa, somewhere that we could just spend all of our time in. So this might be more of like a formal space towards the front. We've even thought of having a dining space which is also a bit of an office at the same time. And I would really love a lot of storage. If I've learned anything through renovating, is that you can have a beautiful house, but unless you have exceedingly good storage, it never looks good.
It looks tidy.
So I want to have a whole wall of like cabinets or wardrobes as you walk in, kind of going past the stairs even. And we'll have the cloakroom and the utility room at the other side. So we might sacrifice a little bit on the extension space, but I'm quite happy to do that because I don't want a utility room or other bits cluttering it up.
Yeah.
But that could change a huge amount, couldn't it?
Yeah, like I said, we need to get an architect in to have a look at this, because there are some drains that are running out the back there, there's pipes, and we need to get their input just to say what's feasible, what's the best thing to do, and how to go about it.
Yeah, and planning permission. We have no idea what will come through with planning permission, but that is our hope. We do know that our neighbours have extended, so we hope that we should be able to at least do the same as that. But yeah, we're so excited about this downstairs part, aren't we? Oh, and the other sad thing is that we will be at that stage taking out all of the floor and putting underfloor heating in, which I know a few people will be really upset about, but we want it all linking through down throughout the whole of the house.
Yeah, we want it to flow all the way through, feel consistent, and
with opening it up, it's a cold house.
Yeah, it is. Also, I think it needs it down here. The bricks, the air bricks that allow the air to flow underneath the house have been blocked for years. And we've got quite a few spots where the joists are sagging or a little bit springy. So, to be honest, I think the floors need to come up anyway to get those joists looked at and possibly have some repairs done. So it'll be a good time to get everything out, clean it all up, and then lay fresh all through.
It'll be a big project, and I don't think it's something we are going to do ourselves. Probably at that point we will get a team in to do the work, because it's a little bit out of our depth, isn't it? And then Ollie keeps perking up every now and again, and he's like, oh, maybe we can do the foundations or something.
Willing to give it a go. maybe not foundations.
So I think we've covered everything pretty much. Oh, the gardens. We did do a quick little makeover of the front garden, but that's not something that we'll do until the whole house is done. And that's same with the back garden. We'll level it all. Our garden is very long, and we have, they called it an outbuilding, but it's like a very glorified shed, like brick shed in the end.
That is quite a lot of work.
Ollie would like to turn it. Now this is we're like looking way into the future now. Like this is past the future, I'm sorry.
No, it's the same time as the extension.
Okay.
It's the same time as the extension.
He would like some kind of man cave, office.
Office come shed. No, not office come shed. A building at the bottom of the garden, which is one side office and one side shed workshop.
And before you think I'm being mean, being like, this is in the future, he wants a fridge out there, he wants a log burner out there, he wants electricity out there. It's not just a shed, it's like you want a mega he wants his own little house out there, so...
I want my own little house out there.
I want a dog bath, like, literally, yeah.
There's lots of things we both want down there, and I think once you add those all together, it gets quite big.
Yeah.
I think it's worth it.
Yeah, it's just, future plans. So that will come with the garden and levelling it. Obviously, we don't want to start with the garden, though we do think that we will probably start pulling out and deciding on what plants we do want there.
Yeah.
Again, a bit like the house, we'll just chip away a little bit until we're ready to do the full-blown thing.
Yeah. A big part of the back garden is going to happen when we do the groundwork for the extension, because at that point we're probably going to have to get a micro digger because it has to fit through a doorway.
Yeah.
We'll probably have a little digger out there, so at that point it'll be a good time to level out the mound, dig out all of the tree stumps, and kind of get the garden trashed all in one go.
Yeah.
And then start bringing it back to life.
Yeah, so we'll have new grass out there and everything. It will be kind of like totally starting from scratch. So hopefully we've covered the majority of everything now. The only thing that I will say is that we will have popped up on screen, hopefully above us, some kind of like idea of floor plans, but we kind of did decide that we wanted to keep the floor plan a little bit private, because obviously we share a lot of our house and we hope that it's a long-term house, and sometimes you just don't know what is best to put on the internet. And to not, and we thought probably putting our full floor plan out there we'd keep to ourselves.
Yeah, I just felt that was one step too far.
Yeah. But hopefully you'll have some kind of idea, and you'll have been able to see a little bit more how the house works from this video. But if you made it to the end, thank you, because I feel like we rambled on. But we kind of want to fit everything in and keep you all up to date on the journey. A huge thank you for following us. It's made it such a nice experience having you guys along, encouraging us, just being wonderful, really, isn't it? Getting advice all the time. We're quite often kind of say, oh, somebody mentioned in the YouTube comments that we could do this, and we're like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. We're like mentioning it to like
normally annoyingly just after we've made the decision to do something else which isn't as good.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for that.
It's really appreciated.
Yeah, thank you for sticking with us, and we will see you all in the next renovation video.
Bye.
We looked at each other too much. Not at the right time.